In Senegal, many women say a new law to criminalize rape in the country has come rather too late for many victims. But on the bright side, they say it brings hope to women who last year campaigned hard to strengthen the legislation and force the nation to recognize the sexual crime must stop.
Senegal may have finally passed a new law that criminalizes rape, but for one woman, it has come too late. She was raped last year and is now trying to put her life back together with a baby.
It's really hard to suffer a sexual assault, but it's even harder to suffer a sexual assault that ends up in a pregnancy. I was really traumatized. I did not want to live anymore.
After trying to abort her baby and kill herself, the woman ended up in hospital before being transferred to the Maison Rose in a suburb of Dakar. The Pink House offers women support that was lacking in a country where rape since 1965 was deemed a misdemeanor and not a crime. Mona Chesero founded the shelter in 2008 and has provided refuge for hundreds of women and girls fleeing abuse, rape, forced marriage, and other trauma.
For some years now, I feel women have wanted to stand up to say stop. Because before there was a Sauteral law, meaning we stay silent so we don't tell. When we used to bring us a girl who's been raped, we had to hide everything. But now we feel that's it. They express themselves, they tell, they know it's not right.
It was widely publicized cases of rape in Senegal that paved the way for a change in the law. Women who had kept silent began to campaign to give a voice to rape victims, drawing confidence from the Me Too movement. Following a unanimous vote in Parliament to criminalize rape, President Macky Sall signed the decree into law on January the 10th. Previously, rape drew a maximum prison sentence of 10 years. The new law sets a minimum of 10 years and a maximum of life for the crime.
Ethiopian ministers have said the country will fill up the Grand Renaissance Dam over a period of between 4 to 7 years, despite Egypt's push for a longer span. Foreign Minister Gedu Andakachu and Water Minister Seleshi Bekele told journalists at the Ethiopian Embassy in Washington that the initial deal announced on Wednesday will not restrict Ethiopia's rights to build other dams in the country. The preliminary agreement brokered by U.S. Treasury Secretary and the World Bank President indicated that Ethiopia, Egypt and Sudan had agreed that the mega dam on the River Nile should be filled in stages during the rainy season. No time period was specified in the agreement. Back here in Nigeria, 50 years on after the Civil War, the desire to see a better Nigeria tops discussions and comments. There is, however, an appeal for proper inclusion, fair treatment, and even distribution of the commonwealth of the nation to erase the mindset of marginalization and neglect. In our special report on 50 years after the Civil War, our correspondent Joy Odinie takes us to the Uli airstrip places of historical importance to the war.
Ihiala local government area is one of the biggest council areas in Anambra State. Created in 1976 during the General Murtala Mohammed and Obasanjo regime. It has 10 communities, including Uli community, which played an important role during the bloody civil war that lasted for 30 months. An airstrip was built by the defunct Biafran soldiers and engineers as a critical support base for both soldiers and civilians when the Enugu airport was lost to the federal troops. Driving into the village to find out what remains of the airstrip, we run into Mr. Valentine Obi, a native of Umuchima, Uli. He tells me that I'm actually standing on the airstrip, now replaced by buildings.
And thereby we run a line now. This is the Uli airstrip used during the Civil War. Over there is where the plane lands, then taxis to a stop, and this is where the Biafran soldiers operated from during the war. Most of us who are indigents of this place fled during the war, and then many of us returned after the war.
I had a chat with Mr. Fabian Ozibo, a family head, who tells us more about the role Uli airstrip played during the war. Today, community members are gradually taking their lands back.
The Biafran intelligence unit had to construct what they call a bunker, the first time in history of the world, where it had a bunker so that once the plane lands, it runs into a bunker so that the overriding or intruding plane does not catch it.
For him, the strategy for reconciliation and healing must begin with developing critical sites in the southeast region.
Still to come on the program, our Africa Tech segment discusses the usefulness of artificial intelligence in e-commerce. Please stay with us.